What's up, Eagles Nation? Back with another episode here for Season of the Fan 2017-18 Philadelphia Eagles. Wrap up of the preseason this week. Eagles at the Jets. A game that really doesn't mean a whole lot besides for the players who are playing, because a lot of those players are going to be either, the third or fourth strings on their active roster. A lot of those players will be on the practice squad or practice squads on other teams. So it's an important game for those players who are in the game. But as far as the actual roster, the nuts and bolts of the roster, the starters probably won't be playing a whole lot, if at all. But, a chance to see some of the other players who may or may not be, Philadelphia Eagles for much longer. Anyway, it's a game, so I'll be watching. But the season does get going the following week at Washington to start the season. Next Thursday night, of course, you have the defending champion Patriots hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. Thursday night football, and they kick off of the season. Can't believe it's already here. Really looking forward to this season. I'm really looking forward to, I would hope it would be a playoff season for the Eagles. I know there's been some concerns in preseason. You talk about the offensive line play, you talk about the running game, but these are things that I think will hash themselves out when the season gets going. I'm not as concerned about the offensive line, only because these guys have been together. It's not like they're rookies out there or second-year players. They're players that have been in the league for a number of years, and you got to give them the benefit of the doubt that things will work itself out once the lights go on in the regular season. And you know what, it better, because right off the bat they're playing some pretty good defenses to start the season. Two of them on the road in Washington and Kansas City, and then home against the Giants in the home opener. I am looking forward to the season, and one of the things I'm really looking forward to seeing this year, obviously, is the second year of Carson Wentz. He has some new toys to play with. Of course, Alshon Jeffrey and Torrey Smith, LeGarrette Blount. And LeGarrette Blount will be on the team. There was some talk, over the weeks, will they cut him? Will he be, part of the, players who get cut? I don't think there's any way they're going to cut LeGarrette Blount. He's a second half of the season runner. He's always been. I know there's some concern, he's only played well in New England and everything. I get that. We all have the Patrick Chung factor around here. I do understand that. But I do believe he'll be fine. I think he has a really good offensive line to run behind. And he's one of those backs that just wears you down as the games go on. And as the season goes on, in the second half of the season, he's always put up pretty good numbers. I know most of that's been with the Patriots. But the fact is, he's always been a good second half of the season type runner. So I'm not too concerned about LeGarrette Blount. Also, the fact he doesn't have to be the guy here. He's going to be part of the committee. They got Wendell Smallwood. They got Darren Sproles, who most than likely will be playing his final season this year. But it is running back by committee. They're going to have that three-headed monster. It's worked well for other teams like the Patriots in the past. So I'm not overly concerned about LeGarrette Blount and what he hasn't been able to accomplish this preseason. I think he's shown some signs of what he is. He's run with power. He's ran out of tackles from time to time. And as long as Doug Peterson isn't the next reincarnation of Chip Kelly, when Chip Kelly traded LaShawn McCoy and brought DeMarco Murray in and said, okay, DeMarco, you're going to be the next LaShawn McCoy. We're going to run you like LaShawn McCoy. No, that's not what that's not what Murray's game is. That's not the type of back he is. And I would hope that Peterson wouldn't make the same mistake with LeGarrette Blount. Whereas if it's 3rd and 2, we're not going to run some toss sweep with you. They go off the edge to try to get the first down, or we're not going to ask you to juke out, the would-be tacklers. You're going to go right up the middle, right straight, between the tackles. That's how he runs. That's his style. He's a hammerback. That's how you got to use him. And I would hope, people were worried about the play calling, but I would hope that being it's the second year into his career for Carson Wentz, that he'll be doing a little more audibling. If a play call comes in that's not one that he feels is going to work, maybe he says, "Hey guys, you know what? 3rd and 2, toss sweep. No, let's nix that. Let's go right up the gut." or even a play action pass, something like that. But certainly not a toss sweep with LeGarrette Blount on 3rd and 2. Yeah, we're gonna catch the defense off guard. No, defense would be basically saying, "Oh, thank you." So, and hopefully this year, particularly in the first half of games, if there's points to be had, if it's field goals, I know we all love touchdowns, right? We all play Madden. We love touchdowns, but hey, look, if it's a game, first half, first quarter, second quarter, whatever, and you're marching and you fail on 3rd down, don't be afraid to kick that field goal, because those points that you don't get there could come back to bite you in the end. And hopefully Doug's learned his lesson from last season. And hopefully if you're on the road and you're up 7 against a division rival, and it's the fourth quarter, and it's a long field goal, but you still have a chance to kick it. Hopefully you try to kick the field goal instead of punting. Again, points off the board could hurt you. And hopefully Doug learned that from a season ago, from some of the mistakes that were made there. But you know what? All that being said, I am looking forward to this season. And one of the things I'm really looking forward to is this defense, because it really has a chance to be a nasty defense. And one of the things we love here in Philly is a great defense. It's been a little while. But I think I love what they've done in the last few years. Not just addressing the needs on offense. Look, obviously last season the big thing was to go out and get your franchise quarterback, and they did that. And they acquired Carson Wentz with the number 2 pick. But now it's about not just putting the pieces together on offense, but on defense. And that's one of the things that they've been putting together over the last few years. And they also are in a defense that suits a lot of the players who are on the team, who have been on the team for a number of years, like Brandon Graham. We saw the difference Brandon Graham, and sometimes it does just take those extra seasons until the player finally gets the light bulb over his head to go on, right, in the NFL. But Brandon Graham had a great season last year. Probably should have been a Pro Bowl selection at defensive end. He's in a defense that suits him really well. You saw other players have pretty good years for the Eagles. And obviously you have some just playmakers on this defense. We know about Hicks and his, ability to get the ball. Jenkins is a playmaker at safety. I really like the addition of McLeod. I think that solidified the safety position last season. And this season you can talk about the addition of Ronald Darby as possibly something, that solidifies the cornerback position. And they got Jones waiting in the wings too. So, we'll see what happens there. I wasn't too disappointed the Eagles didn't get Joe Hayden. I know there was some talk about that in recent days. I know he was released today by the Browns and picked up by the Steelers. But the fact that the Eagles have Jones waiting in the wings, the fact that they just made the move for Darby, they do have Mills. They have a very young cornerback core, and they could even have the next Joe Hayden already on the team. So, if you get Joe Hayden, would I have hated the move? No. But it's almost like, okay, you get Joe Hayden, that could block one of these guys from blooming into something. So I'm not that disappointed they didn't get Joe Hayden. He's a talent. He really is. He's going to help the Steelers. But the fact is the Eagles, I wouldn't have said this a year ago. Last year I would have been beating the drum to get Joe Hayden. But this offseason, with the addition of Darby, with the fact they drafted Sidney Jones, and the fact that, Mills is another year into the league, Jalen Mills, why not just see what you got with these guys? And when you get Jones, if it's this year, might not be this year, but next year, let's see what we got in the kid, Again, he could be the next, Pro Bowl, corner, and we didn't really need Joe Hayden. So I'm perfectly okay with that. I really love this defensive line, and I love the draft of Derek Barnett. And I know it's preseason, and you never can get too high, and you never can get too low about preseason performances. I mean, a few years ago, Eagle fans were saying Sam Bradford was going to be an MVP candidate in the league. That didn't really go too well now, did it? But I love what I've seen so far out of Derek Barnett. He has such a great release off the ball. I mean, just that quick release that he gets. It's no wonder that he has Reggie White's sack record at Tennessee, and the SEC, as we know, is basically a pro conference in college football. So if you can get a record in the SEC like that, that's saying a lot about the guy. And does he have things to learn? Absolutely. He's a rookie. I mean, he has to learn a few more moves. He has to learn a little more technique. But I think he's going to be really one of the good ones. I'm glad they drafted him, and that just strengthens this defensive line that much more. And I think that the fans of the other teams in this division, they'll be welcome. They'll be introduced, I should say, to Derek Barnett, or their quarterbacks will be introduced to Derek Barnett as the seasons go on quite often. So, look forward to that. I really like this defensive line. They have great depth at the defensive tackle position and the defensive end position now. And Vinny Curry, look, I mean, he had a nice strip sack last week. We really want to see a little more out of Vinny this season. You want to see a little more out of Fletcher Cox. I think he'll be fine. I think that this defensive line really has a chance to be a dominant defensive line. And in this league, you don't win unless you can win it in the trenches and you can win those battles. Consistency was a bit of an issue last season, but I do believe this season they're going to be fine, and I think that's going to be one of the strengths on this team. I love the safeties, Jenkins and McLeod. I think they solidified a bit the cornerback position, which is something they really needed to do by bringing in Ronald Darby, by trading for Darby, drafting Sidney Jones for the future. I think that this is going to be a very good corner tandem and unit. And, a season ago, we were all kind of just shaking our heads going, But, now there's some optimism, and that's a good thing. The linebacker position, I mean, you got to love Jordan Hicks. Great playmaker that he is. The outside linebacker position, which looked like, going into the season, there could be some question marks. I'll tell you what, if there was an award given out for defensive player of the preseason, probably should be Michael Kendricks, right? The Angry Bird showed up. Talk about, hey, you know what? Again, sometimes it just takes some years for that light bulb to finally go off, right? I know he's playing for, maybe to be traded or another contract next offseason, but hey, you know what? If they can get something out of Michael Kendricks this season, that's an added bonus that we really weren't expecting too much. And the guy came in, when he was a rookie, he had talent. I mean, he was touted after from his days at UCLA. And then, of course, going forward, we're all looking at his brother in Minnesota going, we always get the other brother, don't we? Here in Philly. Why can't we ever hit on just one of the brothers? We always get the wrong one. But no, Michael Kendricks, I mean, has really beasted it out this preseason, and it's good to see. It's good to see. Hey, you know what? The guy's playing with an edge this season. If that brings out the best in him this year, and they get production out of him this season, that's an added bonus. That's something we just weren't expecting, and that's just going to help this defense that much more. I mean, he is a playmaking linebacker, and he hasn't shown it very often in recent years. He's kind of been lost in the numbers game, I believe, as well. But if he gets his chance this season and he plays well or plays anything near what he's done in the preseason, that's great. That's just added, right? That helps solidify the linebacker position, which is something going into the season we were kind of going, okay, well, we got Hicks. Bradham's okay. So if we can get something out of Kendricks, that's an added bonus. Like I've said, that's a good thing. So angry it up, Angry Bird. I'm really looking forward to seeing this defense. I really am. I think they have a chance to be a really, really solid defense, not just for this year, but for the years to come. And that's something that, again, we really appreciate around here. So hopefully they can keep it up and just give us a great season. Excuse me. Special teams, I know there's been some, mishaps here and there in the preseason, but I'm not overly worried about it. I think once the season gets going, you'll see that they'll still be one of the better units in the league. Obviously, when you have Mighty Mouse returning kicks and Darren Sproles, and again, what could be his final season, it's always a danger to take it to the house. And um, the overall unit I think is going to be solid. Now, obviously, they made a trade a couple days ago. Hats off to John Dorenbos, the Magic Man, for all the great years he gave us. He was the longest tenured Philadelphia athlete before he got traded, I believe, and he just gave us some great years. And I thank him, for what he did for this team and the professionalism that he had. Being an Eagle, he was proud to be an Eagle. You saw that on America's Got Talent last summer. He was very proud to play for the Eagles and to tell everyone that he's an Eagle. And he'll be missed, but I know he's going to do some good things in New Orleans, and who knows, maybe down the road he can come back and maybe be a coach or, be back in the community. He'll definitely be, welcome back with open arms, I'm sure. But again, I guess they wanted to go with someone younger. I guess they liked enough of what they saw out of the young understudy there. We'll see how that works out. That's one of those positions that you don't know sometimes, It's like you don't realize it until there's a mess up, right? And how often has John Dorenbos messed up, right? A snap. Not very often. And hopefully his young understudy will bring that professionalism just as John did. Probably not quite the magician as John was, but hopefully that's one of those areas that we don't start having problems in, with the snaps and all. So, we'll see. But I do believe the special teams will be okay, and the fact that this offense is going to be that much more explosive this season. The defense, another season into the Jim Schwartz, defense, and the moves that they made, and what they look like they could be, just really is exciting. It really is. Going forward, and what I think they're going to be this season record-wise, I think that this has a chance to be a 10-6 type of year. I really do. 9-7, 10, could be, but I'm leaning towards 10-6, and I'm going to say that they're going to go 10-6. I really feel good about this defense. I really do, and I think that's one of the big reasons why I'm leaning towards a double-digit win season. I think the offense is going to put up some more points. I think they're going to be explosive. But I really look forward to seeing, this defense. And I do believe in Carson Wentz. I do believe he's going to be a very good quarterback in this league for a number of years. And now they gave him a few more weapons and, tools in the tool chest, I think that's just going to help him that much more. And, year 2 in his progression as an NFL quarterback. And I look forward to seeing what he brings. And like I said, I'm really looking forward to seeing this defense play, particularly on the defensive line. There's going to be some dominant performances, I just feel, this season from that side of the ball. Lots of turnovers, lots of takeaways, and I definitely look forward to it. But like I said, I we all make the predictions before the season, right? And it's just one of those things. Before a season is when you always feel the best about things. But I do believe we have a reason to feel really good about where this team is heading. So I'm going to go 10-6. I'm going to say division champs this year. What the heck? There hasn't been a repeat division champ in how many years? I know Dallas fans are all poking their chests out. I'll tell you one thing. You guys might be missing, Zeke for some games there. I mean, that's going to be tough, and you better not start off slow. Because in this division, get off to a bad start, that's going to be very problematic. And I just feel that the Eagles, have a good thing going, and I do believe that they're going to take that next step this season and go 10-6, win a division title, maybe win a tiebreaker or something to get the division title. I think they go 4-2 in the division this year, and I think overall they go 10-6, and win a division title and get a home playoff game and win that home playoff game. I feel that good about the chances of doing that this season. And, I'm trying to be as realistic as I can. I know sometimes it's hard. You're a fan of the team. You love the team. You want them to have that ultimate success, and particularly before a season, it's hard to like think any other way. Uh, but I do believe that this team has a really strong foundation, and I do like the direction that they're heading in. I really do. So I'm going to call for a 10-6 season for the Eagles this year. From 7-9 to 10-6, I don't think that's a huge leap. I mean, there were some games they left on the table last year that probably should have been wins. And yeah, maybe some games they won that you could say, well, it should have been a loss. That's the way it's always going to go. But I think that some of those games that they lost last year, I think they win this year, and I think that's the difference. And I think that gets them to 10-6, and I think they win the division. A tough division, as we know. I mean, a few years ago it was the NFC least, now it's the NFC beast. It's amazing how a few years things change. But I do believe that this is going to be a very strong team on both sides of the ball, and special teams too. And I think for that reason they will go 10-6, win a division title, win a home playoff game. And what will they do after that? We'll have to see. I'll have my preseason NFL predictions vid sometime next week before the start of the season, before the Patriots Chiefs game, and I'll probably try to have that prediction vid up by next Wednesday night at the latest, maybe a week from tonight, as I'm filming this on Wednesday night tonight. Whether I upload it tonight or tomorrow, I don't know, but I might upload it tomorrow during the Eagles preseason game. But anyhow, that is my prediction for this season. That's how I kind of look at the upcoming season. My thoughts about the preseason a little bit, how I kind of see this team going, and what I think if I had a crystal ball, which would be green. How I see the season shaking out and what I think the record will be. At least that's the prediction that I can say now on August 30th, 2017. All right, everyone. Before I go, I do want to send my condolences. I know my buddy Mark M made his video. It's good to see him, by the way, making his. He's back with his season of the fan series for the Philadelphia Flyers, and he offered his condolences, and I kind of want to piggyback off of that. Of course, to all the people of Houston and Texas who have been, unfortunately, in harm from the hurricane. And it's a terrible thing. I mean, we've had some bad storms here, not to that degree, but we've had some that I know in New Jersey, Hurricane Sandy come through a few years ago, and the devastation that caused. And we've had some storms here, not to that level, but we've had some storms, and it's always a tough thing when you lose, your belongings, and you lose some, perhaps even some loved ones, and you lose, property and everything. But, time heals, and there's always a way to rebuild. And for all the people out there without homes right now, I know it will take time, but I know that they will rebuild. And, it's really just something that, the thoughts and prayers go out. And, you keep strong there, and, hopefully in time, all the property, personal belongings can be replaced, if your lives and the lives of your loved ones are still there, that's the most important thing. Houses can be rebuilt, you can get your belongings back in some way or fashion. But life is always the most important thing. So as long as you and your loved ones are still there with one another, that's what's most important. And I understand it's tough right now. I know there's just a lot of just craziness and just all sorts of stuff going on there right now. And again, my thoughts and prayers go out to the people of Houston, the people of Texas, and the other surrounding areas that have been devastated by the hurricane. And of course, I've got my little support here, my Houston Astros hat on, in showing my support to the people of Houston, and of course to the people of the surrounding areas too. So that's going to do it for this video. I'll be back again next week with my season prediction video. I'm always so right with those predictions. So I will see you all then, and thanks for watching as always. Season of the Fan 2017 2017-18 Philadelphia Eagles rolls on to almost to the regular season, where it gets started in Washington in just under 2 weeks' time, under a week and a half now to go. The countdown continues. All right, everyone, as always, let's go Birds, and I'll see you guys in the next vid. Take care.